The terrorist attacks on innocent civilians in France are still reverberating around the world. Before I start this video, I wanted to just send my prayers, my thoughts, for all of those that have been affected directly and indirectly by this heinous act of terrorism. We all want to live in a world where we're safe in our homes, in our towns, and in our cities. And it's kind of sad to know that this is not the world we live in. I'm just one man with a camera, and I hit record. My name is Jeremy, this is MathomBooks. Here's my prayer and hope, that through this hardship we may rediscover a faith that would give us a more straight path towards a state of peace where we have safety in our homes, in our towns, and in our cities. God have mercy on us all. Is it ready, Tezi? Okay. So, ironically, this brings me to one of my favorite genres of literature, and that is apocalyptic, or post-apocalyptic, sci-fi, what you might call fantasy, dystopian fiction. It's a lot of words, it's kind of a mouthful, but what it basically is a lot of stories about the end of the world. Well, that sounds pretty depressing, right? Well, it's not. There's actually a lot of uplifting and very motivational elements and themes that come out of apocalyptic literature. The reason is because you have people enduring these cataclysmic events and how they survive and what it is they find out about their own selves and what humanity is to get through this stuff. So it's very uplifting and I think educational, especially for the stuff that we're going through right now. So, before I share with you my 5 favorite apocalyptic books and works of fiction, I'm going to talk to you about 5 themes in apocalyptic literature that reoccur, and they're themes that I think are going to inspire you to want to read this kind of fiction. Apocalyptic literature features core values. The characters in these stories often find that they have to rely upon the generosity of others or the gentleness or meekness of their own actions. They learn humility and compassion. And it's these traits, these values that help them survive in these tough and difficult times. Another theme that comes across very strongly is mankind's love of life, the desire to survive no matter what. You have these people, these characters who are facing the most, dynamic and cataclysmic events of all time, and they're somehow finding a way to survive. And that is inspiring, and it's showing us that almost no matter what situation you put us into, we have that natural desire to live. Another great theme that's often discussed in apocalyptic literature is the idea of reflection. You very often have characters who are taking the time to think back. How did we end up here? How did this world come to an end? What did we do wrong? And I think that's always an important thing, because then we as the reader are forced to kind of reflect on our own lives and our own current world and where we're at. How did we end up here? Another theme that comes up a lot is the appreciation for what we have now. Characters in apocalyptic literature often are surviving on the most minimal elements possible. We've gone back to, hunting with a bow and arrow. There's no electricity, no computers, no hot running water. All the, things that we take for granted are gone usually in these scenarios. And so you have this reality that this character is constantly thinking back to the days when they could just hop in their car, turn it on, and drive down the road. And instead they're having to walk for miles and miles, or maybe if they're lucky enough to even have a horse. And so it forces the reader to reflect on all these great things that we've been blessed with, such as having a YouTube channel and being able to make videos. And lastly, another great theme that comes up again and again in apocalyptic literature is that when faced with incredible, horrible, tragic evil, you become that much more aware of why it's so important for good to take a stand and for good to be present. In these apocalyptic stories, you often have roving bands of, marauders, people who are just going to take anything they can to survive. You have certain people come up and they feel, hey, here's a chance to get some power, and they, abuse that power. Well, we are reminded as the reader that it's so important. Where are the good people? Where are the people standing up for those values we talked about earlier? That's so important. Just like what's happening right now with these terrorism attacks. You have people wanting to stand up and say, not everyone's like that. We are standing up for the good. So I hope that learning about these themes maybe gives you a new interest in reading apocalyptic literature. It's not just all about zombies and, crazy end-of-the-world scenarios. It's a great and exciting genre that I hope you can get into. So please, once you've had a chance to go read some of this literature, get back to me. What did you learn? Has it given you a new perspective perhaps on where you're at now in your life or where you see the world is headed? So now, here's 5 awesome apocalyptic stories that I want to recommend to you highly. These are ones that have been read again and again. These are stories, my friends, that out of many, there are tons and tons of apocalyptic books, novels, stories, short stories, etc. These are the ones that over the years I've kind of culled together as my favorites. So I hope these are helpful for you.